What is up, interweb? It is Lumpy Land. It has been a long time since I've made a video. YouTube reminded me recently it's been almost a year since I made my last video, and because it's been such a long time, the first video I wanted to make was all about being a Cedalion now in VulcanVerse, and what can you do now in VulcanVerse versus what can you do then in VulcanVerse. And of course, there's a lot more going on in the VulcanVerse right now, so we're going to talk about all the different things that have come to play in the recent months. And if you have not watched my video about how to actually become a Cedalion, you can watch my video. It's on YouTube, and that's very helpful. It's very easy, actually, how to sign up and become a Cedalion. And if you haven't signed up, there's a referral at the bottom here, or in the description. That's my referral, and we'll both get some tasty lava if you use my referral and actually decide to play some games. So that'd be great. Use my referral. It's free to use. What else is going on? Alright, so before you play the game, you need to go to MyForge and you need to select your free Vulcanite if you have not done so already. There's lots of reasons to select one or the other. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, I do have a favorite. I use the goat. He's my goat. A lot of people use foxes. I think they're the best at foraging by a small amount, but you can make that decision on your own. Once you have made your account and you've gotten your free Vulcanite, level 0 Vulcanite, you can then enter into VulcanVerse. You can see here we're on this main page. I'm going to go ahead and click enter. You're going to spawn on your rental plot as a Cedalion. For me, I'm going to spawn on one of my land owning plots, and if you own several plots, you can choose which plot throughout the verse that you want to spawn upon. Alright, so these beautiful new spawning screens. Alright, as you can see, I have dropped down into the lovely lands of Boreas, the frosty mountains. I have chosen one of my plots to spawn upon, and the first thing you'll notice right away is that I have a Vulcanite out. That's Medusa. She's hanging out with me. She's the Vulcanite that I had out when I left VulcanVerse, so she's just cruising and hanging out with me. I can use my mouse. If you hold down the right click button and move the mouse around, you will move your view around so you can see what's going on. And if you're holding down the right click button and you use the mouse scroll, you can actually back up and go from first person to third person. So you can see a little bit more of your surroundings and actually what's going on around you. I prefer using both, actually. They use both in different circumstances. So you can see I've got Medusa with me right now. And the very first thing I want to talk to you about is foraging in VulcanVerse. You can also see the white squares surrounding me. That is to delineate the plot that I'm on. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, you've got 1126. That's the number of the plot and some coordinates there. And in the map, you can see in the very far right, left corner up here, you can see we're in this little bay in the top north of Boreas. So okay, now what? Here I am, I'm looking around, I see some statues and some other people's stuff going on, and if I walk away from this a little bit, you can see that, oh, okay, there looks to be some sort of castle up there. Well, oh, that's Jim Dandy. I built all that. That's all part of my plot lands, and you can go explore that, and that's fine. Let's talk about foraging. And the reason that this plot in front of you is actually kind of clear of all that castling is because it's a quality foraging plot. To start foraging, first thing you're going to do is press the number 2 on the keypad, and that's going to bring up your foraging crystals. Your foraging crystals, as you can see, are red crystals in Boreas. They're actually different colored crystals in different quads because the color themes in different quads, it really helps if the color crystals are different colors to maximize visibility. So as you can see right now, I've got Medusa out as my Vulcanite. Let's talk a little bit about Vulcanites before we go straight into foraging. In the bottom right-hand corner, you've got some menus over here, and the second of the menus is the Vulcanite menu. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Vulcanite menu, and you can see, okay, I've got Medusa up. I've got a list of Vulcanites over here that I can choose from to enter the verse worth. Medusa has some really, really good foraging skills, 12,000 out of 12,000. So I've gone ahead and maximized her foraging abilities. So I'm going to use Medusa primarily for foraging. I'm a level 3 character, and she's a level 3 Vulcanite, so everything is good there. So in order to forage, the very first thing you need to do is find a crystal and get close enough to it that you can actually hover over it and see what color it becomes. It's going to be green if you're not using a Vulcanite. If you're using a Vulcanite doing something else, then it's going to be red. So here we are. Watch this. Moving it over. Boom. It turns green. Click on it. When I click on it, Medusa is going to start foraging. Okay, there she goes. She's going to forage for a little over a minute or so. Every Vulcanite has different foraging abilities, and those abilities determine not only what kind of materials you're going to be finding, but also length of time for the forage. The higher the Vulcanite forage ability, the less time they're going to need to go through their foraging cycle. While Medusa is foraging, I can completely run away from this plot if I chose to. I can run to my friend's plot, I can go in a maze, I can do all sorts of things. Your Vulcanite will catch up with you, usually. Usually. Sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't, there are ways to retrieve your Vulcanite. You can change quads or something like that, and your Vulcanite will usually pop right back. But most often your Vulcanite will catch up to you. So if you're doing what we call landmark run, and we'll get into that later, you can keep going after you started your Vulcanite from foraging. When the Vulcanite is done foraging, you're going to find a little information panel. It's going to pop up with some experience, and also it's going to give you information about the materials that you may have successfully just foraged. Okay, there it is. It's a 3 experience and 1 marble. I got 1 marble for that forage, and that's okay. Things like marble and above, generally, they you don't get too many at once. Let's just put it that way. You don't get too many at once. Okay, so one more thing about foraging while we're in here. When you are looking at where you're standing on these white lines, if you are standing on one side of the white line or the other side of the white line, and you reach across for a crystal outside of that white line, you can still do, this one's a little, there it is, okay. See how I can stay on the inside of my property here? I can reach way over here, and this crystal turns green. If I click on this crystal, my Vulcanite is going to forage in the plot that I'm standing in. It's not going to go outside of my plot. If I were to move my character right over here, and then click on this, the Vulcanite would forage in this area outside of my plot. So that's really up to you if you're trying to maximize using a single plot versus moving on to other plots, and there's reasons to do so. I like this particular plot. This particular plot has a tendency to deliver jade, which is a level 4 material, so it's good for 4 experience points, and it's also, we don't really know what jade is good for yet, to be honest. But it is a quality plot. So I'm going to stay inside this plot. I'm going to reach all the way out here. And you can see, even though that Medusa is outside of the plot, she's going to come running back in. There she comes. Her little animation is that she likes to hug me there for a split second before she moves on. And then she's just going to go rambling around this plot and trying to find more stuff for me to put in my inventory. So let's talk about, okay, so I mentioned real briefly about plot versus plot. This particular plot, through experience, I know gives out a lot more jade than particularly the next door plot. So there are lots of plots throughout the VulcanVerse that are well known for giving out specific materials. You can find them pretty easily by asking for them if you are so inclined. Also, if you happen to be running around and seeing a lot of people standing around one particular area, especially if they have a forager in their name title above me, like I have Lumpy Land. If it says Lumpy Land the Forager, and I'm just standing in one area, that's a good indication that there's something good to be had in that area. So, maybe you hang out there and do some foraging for a little while. And people always wonder, okay, well, what am I doing? What's the point of the materials that I'm getting? And if you don't have the ability to build on land, then there used to not be much of a point. I will grant you that. All of these assets that you can see up here, all of the assets in my construction of my little kind of floating castle, those all require materials, lots of pebbles and stone for these. So if you're going to be a builder, you're going to need a lot of materials. And if you don't want to build with them, then you can still use your materials. Let's go down and look at the inventory list down here. It's next to the Vulcanite tab at the bottom right of your screen. The inventory tab brings up all sorts of goodies about what you've been collecting. And, you've only got so much space here. So people like to maximize. Mine used to be a little bit more organized. And with each level that you get bigger and bigger inventories. And I think you'll also be able to maybe pay lava for larger inventories in the future. But that's neither here nor there right now. So as you can see, I've got a decent amount of inventory, a decent amount of various materials. And if you're a Cedalion and you are filling this up and you're now full with your inventory, what do you do with it? Well, Vulcan Forged has introduced a new dynamic for you, and they're called treasure chests. So up in the top left-hand corner of the inventory is this actual little icon of a treasure chest. And if you click it, it's going to open up the side page here, which says, place materials inside the chest. Once you reach a total of 100, you can open the chest to reveal the treasures inside. So a total of 100 is a little bit misleading because they have different quantities of materials based on the material rarity level. So you can see here, commons need commons need 2 commons to equal 1 resource. So if you're going to put in a common, like a clay is a common resource, you're going to need to put in 200 of them to activate this treasure chest. If you want to step up to one of the blue resources, the rare, you're going to need 100, and so forth and so forth. The green resources, the epic, even though it's purple-ish over here, or bluish, or green is the next level up. You're going to need 1.5 for every resource, and then the purple is the level 4, which you would need only 50 purple resources to open up the treasure chest. I like my purple resources. I get a lot more regular resources. So we're going to go ahead and just walk on through this. I'm going to use some wood because everyone loves wood. So I'm going to take this wood. I'm going to left click on the mouse. I'm going to bring it over here and drop it down. Do you really want to do this? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do it. So now my progress bar in this treasure chest is full. When I click open, it's going to either give me a treasure chest of my own, like an actual treasure chest, or it's going to tell me that there's nothing in this treasure chest. So let's go. Yeah, this is how they get you. Better luck next time. Okay, well, geez, I have so much materials, right? Maybe I should just do it again. Maybe I'll just look over here when I drop this over here. What happened? Oh, no. Oh, no, what happened? Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm not a gambler, but I can see how this could be addictive, especially if you are a Cedalion with not much to do with your materials. So what's the point of all this? Well, the point is the treasure chests, if you do successfully find something within them, contain an NFT seed, which can be given a couple of little lava coins to become an actual NFT, which you can trade on the marketplace, sell for PYR. You can sell the NFT seed for PYR, as a matter of fact. So if you are a Cedalion and you have a lot of materials, you can either open the treasure chests, try to get some NFT seeds. You can even open those seeds and try to get the assets inside, because the seeds are a mystery. You don't know what you're going to get. So you can actually, if you open the seeds yourself and you get something valuable, you can sell it for a lot more PYR. Some people are inside of the game now just selling their resources for lava, which you can do inside of the game. You can just trade it directly for lava. So they've maxed up on their resources, they're trading it for lava, and they're moving on. So that is a unique and new way for a circular economy to start to begin inside of VulcanVerse, whereby you can actually forge for these materials, and then you can, inside of VulcanVerse, you can use the trade chat channel. You can ask people if you want to buy or sell their materials. I don't want to be doing this. I want to resume my game. I'm not sure what happened down there. Now, the trade and chat channel would be down here in the bottom left. You can see over here, we've got this large chat area. You can click up into the main, and you can get the different channels. Region is self-explanatory. It broadcasts in one of the quadrants that you're in. The trade channel, if you click on it, and you want to, down here is where you actually choose. Up here is where you choose what to listen to. Oh, okay. Listen. Down here is what you choose to speak to. So there you go. Now if I speak, I'm speaking in the trade channel. So yeah, you can also whisper directly to people by choosing the whisper. putting in their nickname and talking directly to them. If you see something happening in chat and you want to talk to that person specifically, you can click on that name just like I did there, and it'll open up the whisper chat and you can directly speak right to that person. So lots of unnecessary chat in main chat. I highly suggest using whisper. Whisper is a great thing to do. Not secretive, just means that I don't have to listen to you. Okay, so that's going to be about it. Let me read my notes and see if there's anything else. Okay, one thing I did want to mention about foraging here. If you are foraging and you're running around, don't leave your quadrant. Don't go to another server or go to Vulcan City. If you leave what's basically your server in the middle of a forage, you're going to lose your forage. That makes sense, right? So you're spending all that time foraging. Don't leave your forage. If you do have the ability as a Cedalion to build, I highly recommend that you do build on your plot. And, you know, the reasons for building, they're limited, to be fair. You can get experience points by people appreciating your land, which I get on Lumpy Land all the time, which is very gratifying, and I appreciate that. You can also get, you know, notoriety within the community if that's something that you're interested in, and you can also enter the Vulcan Building Inspectorate contests, which I happen to be a member of the Vulcan Building Inspectorate, and we love it when Cedalions build and use their creativity. It's new blood, and you can win PYR rewards simply for being noted by the Vulcan Building Inspectorate. So I highly recommend, if you have a chance to build, that you get out those shovels and build. I'm not going to go into a full building explanation on this video because it requires its own video, but needless to say, if you wanted to build, the first thing you need to do is push the X button. You can see on the bottom here, the status bar will change when I push the X button. Now I'm in building mode. We can use this to access our assets. We can use the number 3 button to dig and add a bunch of terramorphing stuff. We can use the paint tool to really make it dark. Like, you know, now I can change the color. We can add water with the water tool, not in this particular case because I haven't prepped it. Lots of things you can do. We can go through that another time. I'm going to push X again. I haven't wanted to make any of these changes, so I'm not going to save any of these changes, and they'll go right away, which is fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to mosey on out of this area and go look for a fight. I'm going to go ahead and have my Vulcanite forage one more time in this little quadrant before I move out. And I am going to run to an area that I feel like some people usually hang out in, and we might be able to find someone who's willing to get into a fight with us. So as we're running through, you can see that we've got a lot of vegetation and forestry going on plots, and then we've got plots with buildings going on. So if you want to get rid of the vegetation and forestry, you can click on the settings, your bottom right. You can go to game options here. You can go to the graphics menu, and all the way down at the bottom of the graphics menu are the overgrowth quality. And if you want to turn that to off, in fact, if you're having trouble with your computer, VulcanVerse is a little bit computer intensive at the moment. You can go ahead and change down a lot of these settings. You can see I've got some texture qualities up, some shadows up, and all sorts of higher resolution things. I'm also running a fairly high resolution monitor here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the overgrowth, and you can see it really kind of cleans it up. And even further, if you want to submerge yourself, you can go ahead and get rid of these plot lines. I don't like running through the verse with plot lines, and you can just hit the P button to get rid of the plot lines. That's just that easy. Just now you saw Medusa just pop up right next to me. She finished her foraging cycle as you saw the experience points and the materials come in, and she popped right up next to me. She did not need to catch up next to me. I'm going to go ahead and click on this forage crystal again to keep her busy as I am moving. So she is constantly foraging. I like to keep her busy. I like to keep the foraging active. There's a lot of things you could do with materials. You never really know as you're doing your run through the universe where the great plots are that have not been discovered yet. And as you're running through, you can see some of these plots, like the one on my left passing right by now is the great Antonius Magnus. And then on my left is a a non-player character fortress. It's called the Fortress of the Wind. It's one of the landmarks in VulcanVerse. I believe there are 17 active landmarks inside of VulcanVerse, and they are all unique, and they are all worthy of visiting once a day, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit because they are all part of the what we call the landmark run. I guess I can talk about it now as we are running through the verse. Every 24 hours in VulcanVerse, the server will reset, and at that time, which is at midnight Greenwich Mean Time, you can redo all of the daily activities inside of VulcanVerse. As we're running up here, you saw a bunch of numbers, and that is people fighting. So I'm running up here. I've got my trusty Medusa next to me. Here's Cedalion. Cedalion is a moderator in the VulcanVerse Discord service, and he is just hanging out. You can see he's in his blue robe. He's jumping at me to say hi, and I'm going to say, oh look, hey, there he is. Hi, Lumpy. Hi, friend. I'm doing a video. Want to fight with me? And then I'm jumping around like a madman. Yahoo! Yahoo! Jumping is kind of the instant hello inside of VulcanVerse. So I'm sure Cedalion is going to be willing to fight with me. All right, here he is. Maybe that was him bringing up this little fox. I'm not sure, but maybe so. All right, so looks like someone has requested a fight with me. I'm going to go ahead and accept this. I don't think this was Cedalion who requested this fight, but I'm going to go ahead and accept. Okay, so it looks like this was Angelhorn, and you can see he's got or she has a Notice rat, a Vulcanite, and I've got my Medusa. My Medusa just beat the crap out of it, and I received 1 experience point for a fight 1. My Medusa got hurt a little bit in that fight, so I'm going to, down at the bottom here, push the number 4 button. She's going to restore her health just a little bit. Oh, and someone else has asked me to fight. So I'm not even fighting, or I'm not even asking anybody. So that was Cedalion that asked me to fight. And that's the interesting thing. When you're in the VulcanVerse and someone's asking you to fight, at this point, you don't know who it is that's asking you to fight, and you don't know which Vulcanite is asking you to fight. So it's a little bit of a risk, maybe. And as you can see, although we both have Medusas, Cadix's Medusa just beat mine up. Mine died before Cedalion. So I think Cedalion might have improved the statistics on his Medusa a little bit. But now that she's resting, let's say she's resting, I'm going to go to the bottom here, and I'm going to click on this number 4, which replenishes my Vulcanite's health, and I'll be able to fight again. I won't be able to fight either of the 2 Vulcanites that are currently out right now, because there's a cooldown between fighting Vulcanites that you just fought. So if I have a Vulcanite selected, which I can do by selecting this red button, and then I click the fight button, number 1, the target Vulcanite is too tired to fight, so it doesn't have the health to fight, so I can't fight it until it's been rested. Now it's resting. I'm going to click on the fight button one more time, and it's going to tell me that I have a cooldown. Oh, see? Can't attack, cooldown remaining. Did you see that? Can't attack, cooldown remaining. So I can't attack this Vulcanite for a period of time, but Cedalion has brought out the wolf, and I can request a fight for the wolf. That is an alpha wolf from the Arcadian quadrant, and it looks like the wolf is going to beat me up as well. So Medusa's a lover. She's not a fighter. If you know anything about Medusa, she's a lover, not a fighter. I'm going to rest her up again. And then what I'm going to do is, just to get a little bit of payback, I'm going to go to the Vulcanite menu, which I can do by clicking down here again, or by pushing the V button. I'm going to scroll through some of my Vulcanites. In fact, right up at the top here, I've got this guy, which is, we call him Skelly. His name is Chthonius. Is hard to pronounce. It looks like someone has asked for a fight from me. I'm going to accept, and Cedalion has also changed his Vulcanite. So lots of changes going on. The Vulcanite that he has out here, his name is Soder, and not very strong. It's more of a foraging Vulcanite. But now he has brought out his own skeleton. So we're going to have a skeleton fight here. And I have a funny feeling that his guy is going to be buffed, as we say, given a little bit of extra health, maybe? I can't select him for some reason. Trying to select him. Normally you click on him, but I'm having trouble selecting that particular Vulcanite. Oh, there we go. Accept the fight. Great. So boom, boom, and Angel Horn's getting right in the middle of it. I'm not sure why. Spectator getting right in the middle. I'm going to take a picture. Angel Horn says, I'm the ref. Funny. Hilarious. No, they are good. Angel as the ref was funny. Thank you. Okay. So all right, so we're going to explain a little bit what just happened, because a lot of fury just happened. Basically, you can fight with just about anyone in VulcanVerse, and you can do it all day long if you want. You can keep replenishing your Vulcanite. You can keep fighting. You do have the cooldowns with specific Vulcanites, not with other players. So if the other player has a bunch of Vulcanites, you can mix and match, and you can just keep fighting, and then by the time you're done mixing and matching with the ones that you've got, you can start all over again, which is really kind of cool. Vulcan fights, they only give you 1 experience points for a win. They give you 0 if you don't win. And as you saw, they're a little bit hands-off right now. There's not a lot going on with a fight. It's literally me saying, fight. And my Vulcanite does everything. Now, this system is going to change fairly soon. We're going to have intricate fighting mechanisms for the Vulcanites specifically. And then, of course, if you are a part of VulcanVerse Discord, you know about the island of Troy, which is a huge 10,000 plot addition to VulcanVerse, which is going to be released soon. Troy is going to be the epicenter of a lot of PvP and PvE fighting, PvP especially. So that's going to be Avatar fighting, and I imagine Avatar and Vulcanite combination fighting. So actually, it's going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of different things you can happen. Right now, fighting, as I mentioned, is really only used for your daily quests and your achievements. So let's talk a little bit about daily quests and achievements. I'm going to go down here to the bottom of the screen again with my mouse. The very first thing is achievements. We're going to talk about achievements real fast. You can bring it up here, and you can see that VulcanVerse has recently introduced all sorts of different achievements, and it's ongoing. You've got categories to the left over here. General, logged in for 7 days in a row. I've claimed it. You've logged in for 30 days. I've claimed it, etc., etc. I'm currently working on my devotion of logging in for 180 straight days. If I click on it, it shows the progress. I'm at 55 straight days out of 180. And, this is just crack in my arm, in my pipe, and heroin in my vein. I get an achievement, and I have to do this. I did it on my birthday. I was here on New Year's Eve. I brought my computer with me like a schmuck. And, I stuck with it. So devotion is going to be a big one. You can go through this list. Foraging, you can see I'm stuck in this 5,001. I'm not quite there, halfway there. It takes 10,000 foraging to get the title of the Forager or a Forager inside of VulcanVerse, and I'm seeing them everywhere. So people are extremely devoted. Battling, you can also get a title list as Duelist. You have to fight 5,000 duels, and I am nowhere near. Look at this. Paltry 359. So, I don't fight all that much. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I use that line. Okay, I just don't fight all that much. But when the new fighting system comes in, I think I'm going to fight a lot more. It's going to be a lot more active, and I'm more interested in doing things that are a little bit more active. So that's going to be great. But you've got all these quests and all these different achievements that you can score. And with the achievements, you're getting a little bit of achievement points, I guess there's what they're calling them. You're also getting 1 gold resource. Now, gold is an interesting resource. You can't forage for gold at this point. You can only get gold by completing achievements and by completing daily quests, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, these achievements, if you'd like to keep track of them, which I do like to keep track of them so I know what's going on, especially things like my devotion achievement. If I click on my click to show progress here, okay, and then right above it, it says track progress. So great, I'm going to click on this. And what does this do? I don't know what just happened. Well, I'll tell you, if you look to the left of the screen over here, you'll see right underneath the map, this achievements bar has now shown up. And if you open the achievements bar, ba-bing, there is the achievement that I am tracking. So you can track as many of those as you want. I am also working on my foraging achievement about foraging in every quadrant. Here it is. Forage 1,000 times in each quadrant. So click to show progress. You can see my progress here is very biased towards Boreas. I live in Boreas. So I like to know what's going on. I'm going to track this progress, and there it is. And sometimes I like to know how many battles I'm doing in a day, even though I don't do that many. So I'm going to track this progress for the 500 duels. It's not that many. And there we go. There's my progress trackers. I'm going to get rid of my achievements. Here's my progress trackers over on my left, and you can individually open and close these. Great. Just like you can open and close the chat log. If you really didn't want to hear anybody or talk to anybody, you can just click on this arrow at the very bottom and get rid of all that. Now, if you don't want any clutter whatsoever and you're super OCD about it, you can get rid of your entire heads-up display by pushing the H button. And now, beautiful. Look how gorgeous it is out. And you can take some beautiful pictures this way inside of VulcanVerse. It's the way I prefer to take in pictures. Just get rid of all that clutter. But if you need to know what plot you're in for foraging, then there you go. Now we're in a specific plot. If you want to see what's going on with all your tools, you push the H button again. You got all your tools lined up again. And there you go. Okay, let's talk about quests a little bit. Oh, did you see how slowly I'm moving now? Oh my god, it's deathly slow. I pushed the shift button at some point during that demonstration, and now I am so slow. I'm going to push the shift button again, and there I go. Okay, so pushing the shift button makes you walk, or run, depending on how you want to look at it. But, you know, I think it makes you walk, which is not great. So let's talk about quests. And as I talk about quests, I'm going to run to the coastline so we can talk about fishing afterwards. So quests in VulcanVerse come in a couple different forms. They come in the form of daily quests that are given to you, 2 daily quests at a time. There are also weekly quests or quest... they're not really quest logs, but they open more quests. Okay, so you do a quest, you can get another one. You do another quest, you can get another one. And there's maybe 16 or 17 of them. They are the same quests each week. The quest system is currently, of course, being worked on and is going to change a lot in future months. And the third type of quests that I want to talk about are community quests. And community quests have come a long way. And, you know, we've got a lot of really amazing community members that like to give back to the community in the form of quests and also prizes being given. So, you know, you're talking about all sorts of great community members, and I'm not going to embarrass them by going down the list here. Danger Mouse and Injured and Salman Reyes, and, you know, there's been some really kind people, and Fujism doing a lot of wall climbing, and you know, some really cool people out there that are giving back, putting a lot of effort into making it a really immersive place. So you could find these quests on Discord. They're not really in the game. They're definitely available to be found sometimes in the game chat log. That's when quests start and people get activated. But to sign up, a lot of them require Discord interaction. So please get on the VulcanVerse Discord. It's, you know, a great place to meet everybody that's not just in the VulcanVerse, but in the staff, in the community, in the mods. They're great folks and they're super helpful, and it's one of the best communities that everyone says it's one of the best communities. And I'm not into a lot of communities. I would say this one is extremely non-toxic, which is super rare. So, you know, there's dysfunction and there's arguments, but there's a lot of laughter and there's a lot of inside jokes as well. So I would get on it and start talking to your friends. So, you know, in order to access these quests right now, you can push the J button, and the J button starts your quest log. Okay, you push the J button and you see what's going on. These quests, the weekly quests, start on Mondays at midnight at Greenwich Mean Time. The daily quests at midnight at Greenwich Mean Time. So as you can see here, my list of quests, these are all the undone quests, or all of the quests, I believe they are. There's nothing out of Vulcan City. If I open up Arcadia and click on my Thirst of Blood, okay, there's a quest here. I need to win a fight with a Vulcanite 5 times. I should have started that before I showed you about fighting, but I didn't. So I'm going to click Accept. Great. And as you can see up on my right-hand corner, you can see I've got an indication here that this is one of my open quests. Just like the left-hand corner with the achievements, you can close these individually. Now, the difference with the left-hand corner, you can also close them in group if by pushing the square quest button up here. So I'm going to leave them open. Right now, when you do complete a quest, you do have to come back to the quest board and click the complete button. It does not do this automatically for you, but you can open up multiple quests at once. So I'm going to go to Boreas. I'm going to say, okay, this is an interesting one. Deliver 3 halite to the Queen of the Orients. Okay, great. I'm going to accept this. Now, already you can see in the right-hand side, it says completed. Okay, well, this is a little bit of a, not a quest bug, but something that's going to be changed for sure in the coming future. I do have the halite as a material in my inventory, and for now, I do not have to visit this NPC to complete the quest. In the future, you will. She is going to be one of the NPCs that you see as a question mark, or an exclamation mark, excuse me, on the map over here on the left. You can see some exclamation marks. That's where some of the quest giver NPCs live. So you're going to have to go and visit them in the future to receive quests and to complete quests. For now, you don't have to do that. It's a little bit of a glitch bug. So I've already got the halite. I'm going to go ahead and click on the complete button. Boom, complete. And what happened immediately, more quest opened in my quest log. So I'm going to click on Punishment. Punishment has to deal with fighting as well. Deal 1,000 damage while fighting with a Vulcanite. Okay, well, fortunately, I can do this while I am doing my other quest. So I'm going to accept this quest. This next quest here, the Boreas Daily Quest, is something that I completed yesterday. And the server hasn't reset by the time of this video. So can't show it to you, but you can see it's to complete a forage at 27 unique plots. Not the same plot over and over again like everyone does, but to visit different plots and forage at different plots. And my rewards for this, again, were unique, 16 experience points and that precious gold bar that you cannot get by foraging. Remember, gold is used in the verse, and we'll explain that in just a second, but you can only get it by completing quests, completing achievements, or by trading with people inside the verse. If you are able to get someone to trade with you and give them your gold or their gold to you, you know, good for you. Maybe you're paying for it with lava. Maybe you're buying it with diamonds or jade or topaz. I don't know. But it's another example of the circular economy that's building inside of VulcanVerse. And it kind of, you know, it reaches like this with circles of the outside world, because lava costs money, or it's worth money. Right? And inside here, now these materials are actually worth money. So this is actually very cool. So I'm going to keep going here. Hades, right now, I can also show you the Hades quest. I had to deliver 20 soil to the Judge of the Dead. This is one of the more simpler quests. It's like the halite quest. I had the soil. This one, people are not going to like this when they watch the video. It's worth an opal, okay? An opal is a very rare material, and I got lucky with this quest. The daily quests are randomized. You have to get lucky sometimes to get the opal. So whatever. I did it. I completed it. I got the opal. Let's move on. Buried treasure is another quest. Complete the forage at 5 unique plots. We're going to do that over the course of the day, or certainly over the course of the week, because remember, the majority of these are weekly quests. So we're going to hit accept just so it's monitoring this. And the notice, deliver riddles, basically asks me to explore the area, visit landmarks. Palace of the Dead, the Summer Palace, the Fortress of the Wind. These are all landmarks in VulcanVerse. And not only do I want to visit them, I am obliged to visit them basically daily. And here's where I want to explain the difference between daily activities and daily quests. The daily quests are activated by pressing the J button. There's only 2 actually daily quests. The rest of those quests were weekly quests. Daily activities are ways to earn experience specifically inside of VulcanVerse. And here are ways you can do it. You can visit each landmark 1 time per day. You can be online and active for 1 hour or more per day. You can forage 10 times per day. You can forage in each quadrant per day. You can win 10 battles per day. You can win in each quadrant per day. You can trade with another player 5 times, and that will earn you experience points for the day. There may be 1 or more that I'm forgetting in my memory now, but I'm going to bring up a list on this video and it will show you if I have forgotten any more. Now, each of these things you can do 1 time per 24-hour or per server reset. So if you accomplish them all within 40 minutes prior to the server resetting and then the server resets, you can do them immediately after in the next 40 minutes, and you could do 2 days ostensibly worth of experience daily runs in an hour and a half or shortly, somewhere right around there. Personally, I like to get my daily experience points in immediately after the server resets, which again is at midnight Greenwich Mean Time for me in the Pacific Coast. It's currently at 4 p.m. So I come in here in my office, I get it done, I go have dinner. It's great. I know it's done for the whole day. It's great for me because I need the experience points to keep leveling up my character inside of VulcanVerse. Level 4, level 5 is coming. I've got Vulcanites that are super hungry for my precious experience points. And I don't want to miss a beat in terms of my PYR staking for my lands. So that's a whole other conversation. Cedalions don't usually have to worry about that, but I don't have any Cedalions at the moment, so I do have to worry about it. So it's super important for me. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about fishing, which is one of the newer mechanisms inside of VulcanVerse. And fishing can be done at any coastline area inside of VulcanVerse, or at any river inside of VulcanVerse, or freshwater body. It can't be fished at a person's plot that has put water on their plot. So any river, any pond or something like that inside of VulcanVerse, and in Boreas inside of the sandpit, which I will show you in a moment. Now, when you want to fish, first of all, fishing requires either an NFT fishing rod or it requires an in-game fishing rod. I happen to have some NFT fishing rods, so we're going to go ahead and show you that. When you want to fish, I'm going to get my Vulcanite out of the way, first of all. I'm going to push the Vulcanite menu. I'm going to click on this X button, and I'm just going to say goodbye to him because he's bothering me for right now. Normally, I would have him foraging, or I'd have Medusa foraging while I'm fishing. But for the purposes of this, we're going to go ahead and say no. Now, as you can see in Boreas, I am way above the water here. Don't let the vertigo get to you. They're going to do something with this. We're going to change all this. But you can still fish from the coastline of Boreas. I know you need a lot of fishing line. As you move to the coastline, you can see at the bottom it says press F to fish. We're going to go ahead and comply and push F to fish. At the top, you've got a selection of fishing rods. Okay? A lot of them are locked. I don't own any of the in-game fishing rods, but I do own several of the NFT fishing rods. You can see here I own this Ashen fishing rod, which is technically from the Hades quadrant, but you can use an Ashen fishing rod in Boreas, just like this Blooming fishing rod is technically from Arcadia, but you can use it in any quadrant. I do have the Boreas ice-covered fishing rod, so, just for the purposes of doing this, I'm going to use my ice-covered fishing rod right now. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3 underneath, whoop, why did I push the button? As you can see, 1, 2, 3 underneath here is locations for bait, if you want to use bait. Bait is very important. If you don't want to use bait, you're going to get 1 chance with your fishing rod per cooldown. If you use bait, you can have up to 3 chances per cooldown. So I happen to have bait at the bottom here, as you can see. The bait is good for various quadrants. This first bait right here, as you can see on the right, it says that it increases chance to catch a fish across all of VulcanVerse. I have that bait for when I'm fishing in Vulcan City. But for right now, I'm going to go to this little ice bomb over here. It's called the Vicious Ice. And it says it significantly increases my chances to catch Boreas fish. I'm in Boreas. I want to catch Boreas fish. So I'm going to click it once, twice, 3 times. I have now put 3 pieces of bait on my fishing rod. We're going to be able to fish 3 times. I'm confirming. Angel horn running by. And as you can see, the animation has started. I have started fishing. And now I can't push the left-right button. I can't move once the animation has started. I can move the mouse. And here's the bar. Okay, what's going on here is the green bar is moving up and down on its own at different speeds. It's going to jerk up and down, kind of like a fish jerks in the water. And I am trying to match the motion of the green bar with my little arrow. I am trying to hold the left click button on the mouse to move the arrow up, let go of the mouse to drop my arrow. My arrow moves up and down at a predictable rate, but the green bar that I'm trying to match does not move up and down at a predictable rate. There it goes. It started. As you can see, this green bar is a little bit smaller than the last green bar. Through practice, I know that this green bar indicates I'm going to get a level 3. Oh, there it is, a level 3 fish. Okay, that's a mythic fish out of 4. Okay, so there are 4 levels of fish. I could just tell that one's going to be a level 3. And as I just cast, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click the left click button on my mouse. Just so immediately when the action starts, you can see my arrow started going up immediately. Now I got to pay attention and look at this. I have to let go, click on it, let go, click on it to keep it in that green. Once the gold bar next to it has filled, that means I'm going to be as successful as possible in this fishing attempt. I don't believe it means you're guaranteed something. I think that I've gotten that bar completely filled before and not had any fish on the line, which is kind of unfortunate. But at least you know you're giving it your best chance. As I mentioned, size of the green bar during fishing can indicate what quality of fish you're going to get. And strangely enough, the level 4 quality fish has a large green bar, but your gold bar fills very slowly. So you have to be on target the entire time. Let's try again by pushing F. First thing you'll notice is my ice-covered fishing rod now has a 1-hour cooldown time. So you do have to, be judicious about this and use them when you can, and, don't waste time doing that. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my blooming fishing rod and use it right here, just so I've used all my fishing rods at once, and then I can do it again in an hour. To the right over here, it does say this is an epic fishing rod with good stability. It has a durability of 350. I'm not sure why it has an actual number right now, simply because these are indestructible rods. They're NFT rods. The rods that you purchase in-game, which we'll show you in a moment, those actually do have durability issues, and the more that you are successful in using them, the more fish you catch, the less durable they get. They will break. So this fishing rod is unbreakable. It does say that. It does not wither. I'm going to head and put my ice bait on it, click confirm, and cast the line. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and click on my left mouse button immediately so that my arrow starts going up immediately. Sometimes that green arrow can go, or the green zone can go up really fast. And you can see at the very bottom of that green zone to the left, I've got that little Pac-Man, or the timer. It's going away, which indicates how much time I've got left on this particular fishing attempt. Again, Ice Muncher Perch, level 2 fish. Okay, great. Great. And why do we want to do this? Why do we want to fish? That's a good question. Well, people like fishing, I guess, is an easy answer. It's another game mechanic, which is another answer. It is part of the circular economy, because if you want to fish and you don't own a NFT fishing rod, which you could purchase on the VulcanVerse marketplace, you can purchase a non-NFT rod from what's called the Fishmonger in each quadrant. It's going to cost you some gold, and again, you can't forage gold. You have to earn it by doing the quests, by getting some achievements, by buying it. Okay, you could buy it. Okay, all right, let's be real. If you wanted to, you can walk in here with a bunch of lava and you can say, I want to buy all your gold. And you could buy all the NFT rods you want. and you can walk around and you can collect all the fish you want. And then you might be saying to yourself, okay, well, no, what's the point of having all this fish? I still don't understand the point of having all this fish. We don't know yet either, to be fair. We can speculate, and we think we know. And I can show you my fish here at the bottom right again. You can see my fish collection. I'm going to bring this up, and you can see all the lovely fishes. Okay, I have a decent number of fish. Some people have thousands of fish already at this point. And the fish that I have within lower numbers are the rarer fish. I have just one of these crystalline leeches. The crystalline leech can be found only in one place. It can be found at the Boreas sinkhole, which we're going to go to right now. It's notoriously difficult to catch. The odds are just really low. They just have it that way. But really, no one knows, why do we even need these fish? The speculation is that you're going to need them for crafting purposes. And crafting is different than professions. So professions are going to be inside of VulcanVerse. It's part of the future of VulcanVerse as well. But crafting is more along the lines of, like potion crafting. So let's say that you were a great fisherman or fisherwoman, and you have a lot of fish. And you take a lot of your fish to the fishmonger, which you're going to need to do. The fishmonger will gut your fish. And inside of your fish, you're going to find various materials. You're going to need to combine these materials in such a fashion, in such a location, with a certain amount of lava, I don't really know, to make consumable items. Maybe items won't be consumable. I have a funny feeling professions will make non-consumable items like armor and things of that nature and weapons. However, I think consumable items like potions and things of that nature are definitely going to be made with fish guts and things that are found inside of fish. So if you have a large fish collection and you can bring your fish to a fishmonger, which we're going to visit right now, you in the future might be able to achieve a lot of potions and create a lot of consumable items that people will buy from you. Oh, did I miss? I did. I missed the gate. I was talking to you and I missed the gate. So imagine, here's the gate to the fishmonger behind the Fortress of the Wind. And let's get rid of those plot lines. So again, imagine if you happen to have all of these fish, and then the update comes when you can gut all these fish and you can start making all these potions, and then you happen to have a piece of Troy NFT land right outside of one of the PvP arenas, and you can set up a shop right outside the arena and you can sell your potions all day long. Potions that make you run faster, potions that make your Vulcanite stronger, potions that make your health recover a little bit more quickly, potionites that make your opponent blurry or drunk or something like that. I don't know. But, maybe the potion, makes your opponent smell like fish. I don't know. But you get the picture, right? So we don't really know what the fish are for yet. It doesn't really matter. Fishing's fun. I'm getting a lot of cool fish. I'm having fun trying to catch the most unique fish. I don't want them to change the rarity of this leech. It's great as it is. And, with materials, we're still foraging materials that we have no idea what to do with. You heard me talking about opal like it was, the precious ring. We don't know what opal's for. It's just the most rare thing. I can't have it. I want it. So, it'll be used for something. I guarantee you there's a huge map on the wall of somebody's office about all this stuff and how it interconnects. So here I am. Now, I am under the Fortress of the Wind. I am in the sinkhole. The sinkhole is a place to find Nasia, the Queen of the Oreads. That's where you would have to normally go to start and to complete the quests. It's also where you're going to find Garros, the fishmonger for Boreas. Normally, fishmongers are in ports. Boreas doesn't have a port because it's so high in the sky, even though the port should be at Lumpy Bay. But right now, we're dealing with Garros, who is the fishmonger of Boreas. Okay, so we're going to come and talk to him. And just like any fishmonger, you can buy all of the same fishing rods for the most part. These reinforced rod, the composite fishing rod, the oak fishing rod, for various quantities of gold. Okay, and they are not so durable. This one says 100. Okay, 200, 350. This one does say 350, which is the same durability as my rod, but it's going to break. It will break on you. Here is where you can also purchase bait. Okay, so you can purchase the bait for the whole VulcanVerse. You can purchase bait for a moderate chance, significant chance. And what do you purchase it with? You're purchasing it with silver. Silver is a material that you absolutely can forage inside of VulcanVerse. It hasn't been a valuable material until now. Now everyone wants silver because you need it for bait, and everyone wants bait so they can fish 3 times instead of once. Makes total sense, right? So another example of the circular economy, if you're foraging and you get a bunch of silver, people are going to want that silver from you. So here I am looking into the giant sinkhole of Boreas. You can't actually fall into this sinkhole yet. I think you will be able to. I have a funny feeling this is going to be a raid area in the future. But you can fish here. This is the only place in Boreas that you can freshwater fish as opposed to saltwater fish on the coasts. Rivers, freshwater, sinkhole, freshwater. All the other areas, saltwater. And the fish are different. So you want to split up your time between the various areas if you do want a nice mixture of fishes. Now, as we spoke before, this thing is notoriously difficult to catch. I have one, so we're going to go through this fishing on my last fishing rod over here, this ashen fishing rod, before we give up for the hour. And we're going to use the right bait. We're going to cross our fingers. We're going to hope that we get something in here, and we're not going to be disappointed if we don't. And that's okay. You know, nothing risked, nothing gained, exactly. So I'm going to stay in there. Stay in there. I do feel like Garros is watching me fish, judging me as I fish, and, you know, just like kind of shaking up. See, I got 1 experience points. I got no fish. So that's not great. I lose a piece of bait, and that's about it. I lose a little bit of time. Now, if you are fishing with a non-NFT fishing rod, this does not count against you for durability, as far as I understand. I don't have any. But I've been told that you can fish here all day, you know, every hour, and if you don't catch anything, your rod doesn't hurt. It doesn't do any damage to it. So, great. Maybe that's your thing. I also wanted to mention that there is one location to fish inside of Vulcan City. It is currently in the Hades quadrant, I want to say, if you want to call it that. It's in the southwest quadrant of Vulcan City. Look at that crap. There's a pond. There's a fishmonger. The only thing about fishing in Vulcan City is, pardon me, there's only one fish in Vulcan City. There's an alabaster. That's it. That's all you're getting. It's worth 1 experience point. You're not catching any 4 experience point fishes. Nothing rare. Nothing exciting. And that's 0 for 3. Okay, so 0 for 3. I think I'm done here. I'm out of bait. I'm out of time. Thank you, Garros. I really appreciate it. I'm going to, you know, kneel to you, Garros. Thank you. You pray to me. Thank you very much. And I'm out of here. All right. So, we are going to run out of here. And, all right, so what are we going to talk about now that we are out of here? We're going to talk a little bit more about the activity field here and what we can do. And I'm going to make my way to Vulcan City when we do this, because why not? Because Vulcan City is a fun place to be. So as you're running, if you have a mouse wheel, click the mouse wheel. It's an auto run. Look at this. I'm running. It's magic. So I love that. And you can, of course, you know, just move yourself around and do all sorts of things you need to do as you're running. But the auto run is a godsend. So at the bottom, we've talked about the number 1 option here, which shows a little sword right down here. It's the attack. So you need to highlight somebody's Vulcanite, and then click the number 1, and that will send the message to the owner. Someone wants to fight with you. Do you accept? Now, that owner can say yes, can say no. That owner might have 5 different people asking them to fight all at once. That owner might have the option of auto decline. So, you know, if they say no right away, move on, you know, or talk to them. That's what the chat box is for. Open up a little chat. The chat box has a little bit of a weird sensor going on. They imported a chat box from someone or from somewhere, and it censors all sorts of strange things. There are gods inside this game. I have a Hermes god, which gives me a speed buff, but I can't tell anyone I have a god because it censors the word god. And, that's fine. It's neither here nor there. But just be aware that sometimes you see weird things pop up and it's not someone cursing someone else out necessarily as much as it is the auto censor just deciding that word is not okay. So now I'm entering Vulcan City. Vulcan City is going to have a lot more activity in the near future. Right now, it's great for fishing, and everyone comes to Vulcan City for trading. As a member of the Hermes God Owner Club, I am able to trade with other people outside of Vulcan City. Most people cannot trade outside of Vulcan City. You have to come inside the city to trade. So as you can see, it's actually pretty big. And it works. It does. I mean, there are no quadrants. I said the Hades quadrant earlier, but there really aren't any quadrants. It's designed to be a uniform city where everyone is welcome and no one feels kind of out of place or anything like that. I am going to run over to this quadrant just to show you guys where the fishing is, because I think it's good to know, and sometimes people get lost, so I'm going to just run over here. And as I'm running over here, we're going to talk about the number 2 option down at this bottom here. It says Forage. That's what we're doing when we click on the red crystal. So you have to actually push the number 2 button in order for those red crystals to pop up. Sometimes you're doing something else, you push the number 2 for another reason, they'll all go away. So if you can't find any of them, hit the number 2 again, and they'll all show up. In Vulcan City, you can't forage. Okay, you can trade in Vulcan City, so don't be looking for them in Vulcan City. They're not here. And here is the pond area, and here is the fishmonger of Vulcan City. You can talk to him. The rods are the same. He only offers the bait for this one area, and then you can fish right there. It's very simple. That's pretty much the only place you can fish inside of Vulcan City. And again, you're going to only get that alabaster. And I have a funny feeling, Vulcan's a tricky god. And I have a funny feeling that alabaster fish are going to be needed for a lot of things. Just randomly, I think maybe, you might need 2 of something else, and you might need 3 of the unicorn fish, and then they're going to say, combine that with 15 alabaster fish or something like that, and you're just going to smack your head because no one wants to sit here in Vulcan City and fish. It's it's just too quiet. There's nothing going on. I like a little bit of action when I fish. Sometimes I choose river ports where people are running around next to me. It's just kind of fun. So right now, what I'm doing is running to a specific building inside of VulcanVerse. But on the way, we're going to talk about number 3 down at the bottom here. It's the spy feature. Send Vulcanites to spy at the nearest plot. Okay, this is otherwise known as espionage, and it is a feature that, and you're going to get tired of hearing me say this, it's being worked on. Okay, it's being revamped. It had to do in the past with stealing blueprints for building assets, but I believe it is going to be reworked and have something new in store. And a little bit the same way with number 4 here. I'm sorry. There used to be a defense. So, okay, great. 4 is rest. You use that when you are when you're fighting and you need to replenish your health before you can fight again. And then 5 is to initiate a trade with someone. You highlight an avatar just like you would highlight someone's Vulcanite. You click the number 5 button. It brings up the trade menu. Actually, it brings up a request to the other person. If they say yes, then you can bring up a trade menu and you can move materials between your inventory and the trade menu. You lock, you confirm, and then you swap the materials. This is a great way to earn easy experience points once per day. You got to do it inside of Vulcan City unless you've got a Hermes. You have to do it 5 times. And it's also the way that you exchange materials for lava. If you're an amazing forager and if you are selling all of your opal to me for 2 lava, then you would come into Vulcan City normally and you would put your 2 opal up on the exchange rate. I would hit my 2 lava button and then we'd boop, exchange it. That's all there is to it. And so you're making some real money off of foraging some materials or doing the quest and earning the right to sell those opals. Here we are inside of Vulcan City. It's something very special called the Lava Bank, and you can see Lava Bank written right in front of us. The Lava Bank is VulcanVerse's own decentralized bank. Believe it or not, it's true. And you can have an account here with lava. It's amazing, and I'm going to show you what's going on. So I actually happen to have what you need to have, which is called a lava ledger. Okay, it's an NFT sold by Vulcan Forge. If you have a lava ledger, you can come up here, you could talk to Kabolai, and you can open up a plan. Okay, I have not a new plan right now, so I'm going to start a new plan. I am going to choose between the flexible plan, the 1 month plan, and the 3 month plan. The 3 month plan gives me a yearly payout of 14%, divided by 3 months. Let's be real about that. So I am going to say, yeah, you know what? I like this yearly plan. I have enough lava in my lava account. So I'm going to put in, let's just say I want to put in 10,000 lava. Okay? It gives me all the statistics below about what I'm going to get at the end of each week, what the lava is going to be worth at the end of the 13-week cycle, and also what you would earn if you decided to cancel this early. If you cancel, it's like a 50% cut. You're going to lose more lava than you started with. So don't start doing that. So I've got a 3-month plan with 10,000 lava. It's going to auto compound. It's locked for 31 days. I'm sorry, for 91 days, excuse me. I'm going to hit this lock button. Oh, did I not hit the enter of weeks for the selected plan? Where is that? Oh, right here. So 13 weeks for that selected plan. Lock it up. If I cancel the plan, you're going to have to pay a fee, and I will lose my payout. Am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Great. I'm in. I'm running a plan. It's auto-compounding, and it's going to be ready for me in April. Peachy keen. So each lava ledger lets you operate 5 different lava plans simultaneously. If I wanted to lock up certain numbers for certain weeks, or if I'm earning a bunch of lava and I want to do it again and again, I could keep doing it 5 times per cycle. Okay, so I'm going to back out of here. You can also manage your plan here. This is where you would cancel. This is where you would not cancel your plan if you needed to. So, okay, great. I'm done here. I'm going to hit the X button. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I got my safety deposit key, and now I'm going to exit the bank where it gets light and bright outside. Did you notice how dark and dreary it is inside the bank? It's always like that inside of banks. It's always dark and dreary inside of banks. This is the main steps of Vulcan City, the main stairs. Sometimes you'll be looking at the trade channel. And you can see at the bottom left right now in the yellow, someone or a couple people are actually talking in the trade channel. Someone says that they're selling their materials. And now they're just having a random conversation. Okay, well, whatever. Generally in the trade channel, if someone says they'll meet you at the stairs inside of Vulcan City, these stairs that you're looking at are exactly where they're going to meet you. It is the main stairs straight up into the gods of Vulcan City. And it's where a lot of commerce gets done, right? So as we're coming up these stairs, we want to talk about a couple more things inside of VulcanVerse before I let you go. One is that, yes, as of now, you can only use a Vulcanite that is equal or lesser than your avatar's level. So if you are a level 1 Cedalion, you can use your level 0 or a level 1 Vulcanite. And if you want to use a level 2 Cinna or something else, or Trapjaw or anything else out there on the rental market, you can rent it, but you can't use it inside of VulcanVerse until you are at that level, which is a little bit frustrating for some of us that have some really nice Vulcanites. Like I've got an Asteron and a Copus that's just kind of sitting in my garage, and I'm not going to be able to see them for a little while. But we've been promised that soon you'll be able to summon some of these higher level Vulcanites with a little bit of a lava burn. Maybe there'll be another action involved. We don't really know the mechanics of this yet. So that'll be really exciting to see some of the higher level Vulcanites wandering around the verse, including riding on Thunder or flying on Pneumatox. That's going to really add a whole lot to the verse. I'm super excited about that. And as a Cedalion, you'll be able to rent a higher level Vulcanite and do a lot better for foraging. Much faster and much higher rate of scarcer materials. So we talked about crafting versus professions. We talked about the lava bank. You know, if you get stuck somewhere inside of VulcanVerse, if you click down at the very bottom right, the settings menu, inside the settings menu are game options. And over on the left here, gameplay. Respawn is a way to get out of a trap. Sometimes people do build traps inside of VulcanVerse. What can you do? It's their land. If you're wandering around on auto run and you're looking this way and you fall into a trap and they don't have stairs to get out, you can respawn. It will respawn you to your own plot. It will respawn you to a certain, like a corner plot near Vulcan City if you don't have a plot in the quadrant that you're currently in. So it won't take you back to your own quadrant, but it'll respawn you. It'll get you out of a lot of trouble. So, and here's the decline battles button if you want to do that. Decline trades if you want to do that. If you just want to play on your own and you don't like talking to other people, that's fine. You know, VulcanVerse is a very social place, and it's growing more and more and more right now. So if you don't want to talk to anybody, that's fine. You know, you can do your own thing. But a lot of these quests revolve around interactivity. So, you know, you can come out of your wallflower just a little bit. If you are going on alone, you could also decide to join a collective, you know, join a guild if you like. In real life, there's a lot of guilds that play in VulcanVerse. So you can have a guild manager manage you, help you get the accounts, help you get a better Vulcanite, something along those lines. If you prefer to just go it alone, you know, there's no real guilds in the game as of yet. There's, you know, you can see people with certain prefixes in front of their name, and you know, maybe they're chatting using voice chat or something like that. I don't know. But there's not a lot of in-game guilds yet, so that's yet to blossom. And I think that's something that VulcanVerse is going to add specifically. Besides, of course, the quadrant allegiances, which, of course, you should always pick Boreas. It is the zenith of all quadrants, obviously. It is where everyone prefers to start their day. It is my homeland up in Lumpy Bay, where you saw at the beginning of this video I was doing my foraging. So I encourage you to come visit me up at Lumpy Bay. And you know, it's very scenic. So, you know, bring a coat, though. It's definitely cold. Yeah, okay, so I think that's going to be it for now. We've retouched on all the basic aspects of VulcanVerse and the new ways you can go ahead and complete all of these things to get your avatar and your Vulcanite up to snuff. A lot of stuff is coming soon, I gotta say. They're refactoring the whole game. They are changing mechanics left and right. I know this video was a long time in coming, but I honestly feel as soon as I publish it, there's going to be an announcement that the fighting mechanism has been reworked, or the foraging mechanism has been reworked, or fishing number 2 has come in, you know, because this is just fishing number 1. We don't really even know what's going on with splitting open the fish yet. So there's so much to come, along with Troy, along with Atlantis, along with Elysium. There's so much going on, but, you know, this will get you up to speed, and I hope that it was helpful for you. And at the same time, you know, hit number 2, keep foraging, and come visit Boreas. Yeah, come visit Boreas. And Hades smells funny.